Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Julia, and today we're diving into an easy to identify but deceptively tricky to solve type of critical reasoning question, the complete the passage question. Scoring consistently on complete the passage requires understanding what's really going on with the logic, so let's break down the process to do so. First up, I want to discuss the recurring themes that show up in these questions. Once you know the parts that you need to look for, it's much easier to find the information required to pick a good completer. Then we will dive into some specific tricks and strategies that can help you avoid trap answers and pick the best answer to complete the passage with confidence. Let's talk about some things that these questions have in common with each other. First up, context-dependent completions. We are trying to complete these in context, so these questions will always hinge on the context that's already been set up by the passage. You aren't just filling in a blank in a way that sounds good or seems related. You're completing a line of logic. It should be a whole argument when you're done. That blank space is often the final link in a short but complete logical chain. So what you insert there needs to be serving the purpose of the sentence. Theme 2, embedded argument structures. Complete the passage questions are basically regular critical reasoning questions in disguise or missing some pieces. You'll usually find that the blank is meant to function like an assumption, a strengthener, a cause, or a conclusion. And how can you tell which one it is? You have to look for the wording before the blank. How are they setting up the blank? If the sentence ends with because blank, you're probably looking for some sort of cause. If the sentence ends with so, that blank is something that logically follows from previous evidence. It's the next step based on some evidence that you have been given, like a conclusion. If the sentence ends with despite this, then we need to find some turn of events that still fits with what we've already been given, but is a little bit surprising, kind of a paradoxical outcome. Our third theme is one goal per argument. The GMAT loves simplicity. These passages are not very long. So they are usually built around one goal, one idea, or one proposal. Your job isn't to critique or introduce new ideas right at the end. It's simply to support or complete the existing logic. Now that we've got our foundations, let's look at how to spot the right answer quickly and consistently without falling for tricks. Here are some tips for successfully completing a passage. First tip, read the cues. The words leading up to the blank that you need to fill in are your blueprint. What are you looking for? Are you looking for a cause or a result or some evidence for a claim? The cues give it away. Read the whole argument, but especially the final sentence, as if it were the question stem, because functionally it is. Tip 2, watch out for new plans at the finish line. Commonly an answer will seem relevant or like it fits or like it is a way that a conversation might proceed from what you have been given, but these are not conversations, they are arguments. And a clean argument does not introduce a completely different plan or metric at the very end. If the argument is about planting trees to boost restaurant profits, don't fall for an answer that drifts away from trees and profits. The final blank is not the time for new plans. Stay focused on the plan we are already discussing. Tip 3, turn the blank into a question. Sometimes the fact that these don't really have a question in the same way as a lot of CR problems throws people off. Here is your solution. If the passage ends with because, for instance, ask, why does the author believe this conclusion? Then plug in the answer choice and see if it really answers your reformed question. This removes the grammatical camouflage of some answers and helps you judge each answer more for its logic. Tip 4, eliminate redundant information. We don't need an answer that just rephrases existing information or explains a premise without actually doing anything else to further the argument. They don't add anything new or support what we need to support. We need to tie up our argument's loose ends. That's what we're doing when we're completing a passage. So watch out for answers that sound good, but don't actually move the logic forward. And trick 5, the argument is probably simple. The GMAT rewards clear, focused logic. Most conclusions are pretty simple. If you find yourself getting lost in a complex answer or overthinking it, take a step back. You can also use your review feature on your questions if you need some space from it, and ask yourself, does this directly help the author achieve what they're trying to achieve? If you cannot see that it directly helps them, it's probably a trap. So that's your guide to complete the passage questions. Look for context clues, understand the logic and the structure, and use those tricks to avoid all the common traps that the GMAT loves to throw at you. Keep things simple. Don't get distracted and trust that your strategy will pay off. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.